Well, there are certain nights where you feel like, I don't know, feel like maybe there's not as much to talk about. You know, it's easy to dissect every play in a loss, right, Razor? But some nights when you're just not good, I don't know, you just want to let it go. But that's not our job here at Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, as the Bruins lose handily to the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-1. You feel defeated. Well, I won't speak for you. It's kind of defeated is the way that I feel right now. And I'm not a player. I'm not. You know. I'm just like, you watch that game and you're like, how, early on, after what happened in New Jersey, didn't you expect him to come out differently? I mean, it's the old it's not if you lose, it's how you lose type of thing. And I just felt like they never had any pushback in this game. I mean, outside of 5 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had a pretty decent second period at times. They had some good pushback after they gave up the second goal. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm trying to keep myself from going to the point like I watched Philadelphia and Buffalo last night, and that's
that sucked.
Pause.
Yeah, that sucked. For
that's and there's a lot worse situations going on in the league. I think the Bruins are in a we want them to play to what they were, President's Cup, Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years. There's an expectation. I think that this year is just so difficult, and you can see how much of a grind it is. And yeah, you want them to put forth great efforts, but they were 4-1-1 their last 6, and there's probably about 17 teams that would do anything to have that. And I understand it's not how it is, or it's how it looks and how it feels, but I think with everything that's going on right now, you take that at face value and you just grind to the next day. You're right.
Okay, let me rephrase, because that was a pretty crappy open. Because I didn't explain it. When I say you feel defeated, I mean, it never felt to me like they were really, truly a threat in that game. Where it was 2-1 after Brad Marchand scored in the third period, you said, I literally looked at Barry because I was doing the game, with Barry on Thursday night. You're like, oh, they're still in this somehow. Yet I never really believed that they were in it. Maybe that's what it is. So when I say I feel or felt defeated, it was, I never had that belief of, okay, not the greatest game, but I never truly felt like they were in it. And I think that's what bums you out, right? If you're a fan. And that's maybe the striking thing, especially after the third period against the Devils, where they busted their asses to get back in it.
Well, and I think for me, I'm looking at it the similar way, where every one of these, a New Jersey win or a Buffalo win or a win from Dan Vladar in Pittsburgh, you're like, all right, next game they're going to come out and win 4-0. And then they're going to win 3-0. And then they're going to win a close one, but they're going to win 6 in a row, and it's going to be kind of easy. And that hasn't happened for 2 months.
Nope.
So I think that's also what, for me, that's where I can tell there's frustration. And all right, they're going to come off of this last win against New Jersey where they found a way, and they're going to take it to a team that they're behind in the standings, that they can make a lot of ground up in 2 days. And it certainly wasn't the case tonight.
And, momentum is a hard thing in the season like this, I think, keeping momentum. Mm-hmm. But we're seeing the really good teams, the great teams. I'll throw out the Vegas, the Colorado, the Islanders, even. They're getting thumped every now and then. Tampa's losing 6-1 here and there, right? Stuff's happening. And I shouldn't maybe use Tampa because they had lost 3 or 4 in a row, I guess. But most teams that are really aren't, they're not losing it for long periods of time. Now, to your point, as I make a hypocritical statement,
the Bruins haven't either.
I was going to say, to your point,
the thing,
4-1-1, right? So if they come back and win on Saturday afternoon,
then everything's good again.
Right? It's beyond roller coaster.
It's in a wild roller coaster because of the 4 points and because you can check the schedule. You're just always, and that's okay. Where you have to.
I agree with you. So, okay, but could you agree with me on this? It was too freaking easy. Okay, hold on. Was it too easy for Pittsburgh? Meaning, did the Bruins make it too easy, or is Pittsburgh that good? Which one?
No. Pittsburgh's not that good. Pittsburgh's not that good.
Then are the Bruins
but they're-
bad?
They're
Then
at,
are the Bruins that bad?
they're at a good disciplined place where listen, the third goal is a perfect example of Pittsburgh didn't do anything to earn that goal. They had a good solid neutral zone set up, and the Bruins skated into it like a fly trap, and that's exactly that is exactly what the Bruins have done to teams the last 2 or 3 years, is just do enough and then hang on and stick with structure, and usually it's the Bruins that are outpacing a team like that, and tonight wasn't the case. And I wouldn't be nervous if the Bruins played them in a 7-game series. I think they find a way to win. It's just we talked about it last show. They have to go out and do it.
I will tell you, buddy, that's a ballsy comment. That's more ballsy than saying that Mackenzie Blackwood isn't that good.
That's right. There was no goalie comments tonight. Kept it to myself.
That's a gutsy comment, because I don't know if I would agree with that right now. Without Tuukka, I don't think they can win a series.
Wow.
Okay, now I'm not, and I know that you're not saying that they can do it without Tuukka. I know you're not. Okay.
Yeah. No, that I'm under presumption that
right.
he's playing
Right.
decent.
But as the Bruins are constructed right now, unless some things change significantly, I don't know if they could. And that's where, I've said this before on our show, on our time. I want them to do well. I do. I will overtly want this team to do well, even though I'm a broadcaster.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's better for us from an emotional, from a fun perspective, from a financial perspective. I want them to do better.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing this with pom-poms on. But what I'm saying is, I don't know, Razor, right now, if the young D are getting exposed. I mean, Kampfer and Tenorti should be in on Saturday. They should. I mean, now Carlo, who knows, but if he's out, you got to bring one in. But shouldn't both of those guys be in regardless?
Yeah, I got to. I mean, Tenorti, I would expect back in. The thing with Lausanne, right? And we talked about it when he came back. Listen, he's going to play well, but he's going to have a tough week. It's going to be hard for him to get back to speed, and he's going to have a good game at the start because but the next few games are going to be tough. So do you take a kid out like that?
I would take Zaboral
who's trying
out.
to get back to his game?
I would take Zaboral out. I would.
Yeah, I think he's probably needs a rest. And honestly, it's nothing worse than that.
I agree.
Mental, physical rest for these kids. Like, that's a lot of hockey they're playing right now where they don't get any down. They're stuck in a room by themselves it would be okay to sit him down and rest him and just take a break. I think
I'm
they're
with
there.
you.
I think they're there.
I'm with you. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying I'm saying, but his performance, like, I'm all for keeping Lausanne, even though I think his last couple of games have been tough. I'm for keeping him in and playing, especially because the PK. You can use him there as a second PK guy and everything. But I don't see how, if Carlo can't play, and we don't know what, Friday afternoon, we should hear something from Bruce Cassidy. But if we're assuming he can't play, then you bring Kampfer back in. I don't know how you don't bring Tenorti in for one of the kids. That's just my take on it.
To the same point, you can't allow Tenorti to sit too long either. He's a big body that you don't want him to lose that edge that he was showing that he had. So I would agree with that. It's good to have a big body back there.
All right, what about
They're
up
going to
front?
mix it up. They're going to mix up the lineups again. They're definitely mixing the lineups again, and
they have to. I mean, you have to hope that Corrali has jump in his step, even though he's been off. He gets another skate on Friday, and hopefully Saturday he's ready to get after it, to Corrali some people on the forecheck, etc. I would have to think Chris Wagner's in. I thought Wagner would have played on Thursday. He didn't. He wanted to keep Coleman in, the young kids, etc. Hopefully the message has gotten through to Wagner. And if there's anything ailing him too, which I don't think there is or was, but if there was, he's healthy. Because I got to imagine those two guys come back in. He played the fourth line an awful lot against the Crosby line. Did that surprise you like it surprised me?
It did. And it didn't surprise me as much. I didn't notice it as much not being in the building against the matchup. It was more just noticing that the fourth line was out a lot. I felt at one point in the third, I was kind of wondering if was David and David getting sat for the fourth line. Were they sending a message to those guys? And that was then when the score was 2-0. I just noticed Kuhlman out like every other shift. It felt like it was Patrice Kuhlman. That's what it felt like. So that was interesting. Again, were there messages being sent throughout that? I'm not sure, but at the same time, I thought I thought they did a good job. I thought that line was skating, and when they're up again, they're outmatched when they're playing against Crosby on a consistent basis.
Crosby's line I thought was outstanding. They only had the empty net goal when they were out there, but I thought they were outstanding all game. I thought there were a few times, though, it was a little curious to me, Razor, when they were out there against the fourth line, with the home team having the last change. And he was maybe trying to get Bergeron's away from him, but on the other hand, Crosby's line had their way at times with them too. So,
yeah, and if you're trying to get Bergeron away from him, what was the next line you were going to count on out there tonight?
That's
right? It was probably the
yeah,
fourth
but
line.
okay. Then that's, in my opinion, and I love those guys, but therein lies a potential conundrum, an issue, my friend, right there. So that we've talked now at length here on Morning Brew about the fourth line needing a reimagination, a rebuild, or something to invigorate them, right? Something to get them going. What did you think of Pastrnak in this game? I mean, we talked about him second intermission. We talked about him on post game after the game last, on Thursday, and there's the giddy up is missing. The mental aspect isn't sharp. He's trying to do at times too much, and at other times he doesn't seem like he can get there the way he was before. Is it mental fatigue, physical fatigue? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's something. It's something. It's been too long now to just and again, like, it could be something going on at home. Like, it could be anything. It really could. But there is it's a lack of. He doesn't handle passes the same way. He's not handling, he's not hitting the one-timer the same way. He's floating, not floating. That's a negative comment.
I know what you
really
mean.
Negative, but he's around the top. He's on the edges. He's not shooting from in tight. He's not getting, there was one play even on the 6-on-4 at the end of the game, or 6-on-5, where he has it and he send it through the seam 2 feet off the ice over to Marchand rather than just ripping it on net like we've seen him do 100 times, or take one step to the middle and try and get to the net. So it can't be. I don't want to say it's not health, but I'd be very surprised if it's like an absolute injury. It seems more a mindset. And listen, David's a sensitive kid, and he came off that high of he came out of Lake Tahoe as the new face of the NHL. That was the talk for 3 or 4 days, and it hasn't been very good since then, and I'm sure he's feeling it. And on top of everything that's going on in the world, that it's compounding on him, and he's got to find a way. I'm sure the guys are everyone. He has to find a way, and that's where it goes to how they're struggling, and what do you do? Well, if you're in the office up top and you're saying, well, this guy, our best player, the top goal scorer in the league's not scoring 5-on-5. How do I evaluate that, and how do I go out and make a deal if this guy's not contributing right now? Do I sit and wait, or how do I get him going? And that's kind of where all of this stuff starts, right?
Well, yeah. And the question keeps getting asked, what's Don Sweeney to do? I don't know anymore. I was, a few days ago, I feel like I'm on a vicious roller coaster. A few days ago on this very show, I talked about making a hockey trade. I'm still not against it, I guess, Razor, given if you can, help the team for the future. I'm moving totally away. I'm moving further and further away every day, though. Even though they were 4-1-1 or 4-2-1 now in their last 7 from a rental, unless it's a really reasonable rental. I don't need to be giving up a first-round pick right now, or even a second-round pick, maybe. I don't know for a rental. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody come in if you could find a good grinder, character guy, add him to that third, fourth line. I mean, we got to talk about getting Charlie Coyle going. We got to. We got to. I mean, Krejci, Krejci's Krejci. We talked ad nauseum at length about it. But Charlie Coyle, we need to see him going. And his line. Mm-hmm. They move the right wings around here, there. Come on. He needs to get going.
I know. Listen, there's you were watching the teams around them and the teams above them, I guess. The teams below them are teams below them, and they've gotten a big break from all of that.
Right.
But the teams above them, they've got four lines rolling, essentially.
Right.
They've got guys that none of us have heard of before. They've got guys that are young prospects that are 19, 20 years old, first-round picks that are figuring it out, finding ways to contribute to this league. And that's the difference right now. I mean,
you make a good point. Let me tell you about a guy that played in this game on Thursday night. Freddie Gaudreau. Their third-line center, because Malkin's out, Kapanen's out, Teddy Bluger's out, who's normally the third-line center, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Freddie Gaudreau played a couple of years. I'm going to say it's 60 or 84 games. I can't remember. Forgive me for not being 100% accurate. Over 3 years for the Nashville Predators, from 16 to 19. Comes and plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Freddie Gaudreau's line in this game, 16 minutes, 3 shots on net, another couple of attempts as well. A hit, a takeaway, a block shot, 4 for 4 in the faceoff circle. Okay? Freddie Gaudreau, 16 minutes. To compare it just to Charlie Coyle, who's a -2 in 13-22. He did have 3 shots. One was from significant distance, though, like real significant. And he was 5 of 11 in the faceoffs. I am a fan of Charlie Coyle's, but he has not played anywhere near like he did last year, or especially in 19. And that has to be a concern right now.
It's a massive, and that's what's, again, we just talked. So you got Pastrnak and Coyle not performing up to what, and not near the level of where they were, let alone just what worst case scenario you would think that they would be at, and that goes to the performance of this team and what's ailing them. You can look at that and what changes. Right? How do they get them going? And that's so difficult. And that's what, the $1 million answer that none of us can answer, because it's a $1 million question that no one of us can answer. Is it just why? And they need to go. It's that's what Don Sweeney's talking about right now. They need to get these guys going.
Yeah. Well, easier said than done.
Because Freddie Gaudreau can't outplay Charlie Coyle, right? He just can't.
Right.
You look at that on the coaches are salivating over that matchup.
Right. You hope
night after night.
Exactly. You think they would be, right? You're like, hey, here we go.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it doesn't seem like Bruce is going to go with Pasta and Krejci. I know he mixed it up again in this game, but he goes back to it, it seems, at every game. I still like to see it go for a couple of games. I would. I'd like, if that's going to be the thing that gets Pasta going, try it, right? I mean, the alternative hasn't worked. Bruce talked about not being frustrated with his star players, but disappointed. Very paternal, like.
Yeah, that's the worst. And that was not including Marchand and Bergeron, just so everyone's aware of that. That was those guys were left off that superstar mark.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah, I'd agree. What'd you think of Vladar?
I mean, how to sit down with those guys right now and see where their heads at would be really fascinating. And we don't have that opportunity because of everything, but to really know where Patrice, like, he's got a lot of heat. Like, this is his first captaincy, and knowing Patrice, this is hitting him very personal. That not everyone's pulling the rope, and I'd be fascinated to pick his brain for a
let me
little
let me
bit.
ask you something, because I know you guys obviously have history. Obviously, we all know about the Zamboni ride that you guys took together 20 years ago now, or whatever that was.
Oh, not that long, but yeah, it's getting there.
Well, okay, if it wasn't, what was it, 14, 15? I mean,
Yeah, 15.
15. Okay,
Come on, that's 5 years. That's a long
it
time.
is 5 years. How tight are you guys? Meaning, how? Not. Let me. I sound like a jackass.
No,
How tight are you guys?
Yeah, yeah. No, we're not tight texting every day or having dinner together but and we weren't at the time either, because he's 6 years younger than me. So we were already I was already with my wife at, now she was a serious girlfriend. He was 18. He was living at, so we were roommates for 2 years, and spent a lot of time on the road, but we're always in kind of different places. But now I see him at the rink, or, we see him over at, one of the rinks in Newton in the mornings, and it's like we've always been friends. It's more that
Does he look at you
relationship where-
differently now that you're in the media?
No, not at all.
Good.
Not at all.
Good.
Yeah, so it's yeah, so it's amazing that it's been this long and that we're still like that, but yeah, certainly
Well,
it's funny to still think
Yeah.
back about Patrice.
it would be great, though, for you to be able to have a real convo with him. I mean, I love talking to Patrice, but when you talk to him in a media setting, he's very forthright, but he's very straightforward. Meaning, just this is what you get. That's it. And
He's a pro.
he's a pro,
Yeah.
right? But I'd be curious. I really would, to hear about how he really feels. And I'm not saying you would talk to him and then you'd come share private stuff. But I'm just saying, just to have one of those sit downs after the season would be really, really wonderful to hear about how he handled this first year captaincy and all. So maybe we can get him on in that way. Danny Vladar, what'd you think? Anything jump out? Good, bad, indifferent from the game?
No, I thought he was very good. I mean, they high danger shots were 15-3 at some point. He battled and grinded. Third one, he got out way too far. He got his feet stuck. Didn't really recognize that there was a pass option. A little bit on the first one as well, but the first one, it was kind of a broken, weird play. But certainly the third one, he was out. For a big guy, he doesn't need to be out there, but I think he didn't recognize the 2-on-1 option. But again, he gave them a chance to win when they probably didn't deserve to be that
He was
close.
dynamite in the first period, especially.
Yeah.
And how many breakaways again did we see in this game, or at least quasi breakaways? And how often did they get?
When was the last time the Bruins had more than 2 or 3 odd man, like 2-on-1s or breakaways in a game, full on 2-on-1s? Like when was the last time they broke a neutral zone open?
I'll tell you the last time, because we talked about that. It was a couple of games ago when Pastrnak scored on the power play, and when he swooped up.
Yeah, so that was in Pitt where he scored the first right away.
So you're talking 2 weeks? I don't remember. Sorry, I don't have it in front of me. But we were talking about that. The regular.
No, that was the game
2-on-1
in Pittsburgh they lost. Yeah.
Right. So regular. I mean, Anders Bjork has kind of had a breakaway in here and there, but driving by defenseman Carson Kuhlman had one. But I mean, the amount of odd man rushes and the amount of stretch plays that are leading to breakaways against the Bruins, the last whatever, even though they're 4-2-1 and they're 7, but in that time is ginormous. It is.
It's ginormous.
It is, man.
Again, high danger shots, 15-3. That is a whopping number.
Did you get Timmy Peterson's note before the game?
I did all the shots within 15 feet.
So Timmy,
I was gonna write them all down, but I didn't think we needed to go through it on this. But yeah, that's
just so people know, if you watch the broadcast, you may hear Timmy P's name brought up here and there, folks. Tim handles all of the kind of the big breakdowns we do with graphics and illustration on it. A wonderful hockey guy, great guy too, but really knows his stuff.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But he also provides us with some interesting nuggets before each game as we're preparing. And the Bruins' lack of shots from within 15 feet is really discouraging. It's discouraging because we're seeing other teams have significant amounts. And I'm sorry that I don't have those numbers in front of me, but it was something huge in the previous 3 games leading up to this Pitt game. But they need to get on the inside. They need to change. Anything else, buddy, you want to get to or no? Anything else that was we talked about stretch plays. We touched on Vladar. We touched on Pastrnak. I'm concerned. I know other people are concerned. You seem to be a little more zen than I am right now. It's probably your Collier's hat that's keeping you nice and warm.
Yeah.
Thank you to Butter.
It is.
Yes. Our boy
Absolutely,
Butter.
Thanks for dropping that off. No, I'm trying to. I'm just trying to. I said a couple weeks ago. I said they can't lose 2 games in a row anymore, and they haven't lost 2 games in a row. So I'm going to try and hold to that. And I want them to go on a run, but I'm also I'm going to try and hold the 2 games and not panic too much. I'm concerned about some individual performances more than the big group.
Yeah.
If you want me to go there, the group is, man, McAvoy, Bergeron, and Marchand are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
They're awesome, and they're that good. But
well, they're going to need more.
We'll talk Saturday after.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Lose 2 in a row, then we start panicking.
Right, and again,
I will.
It will be, and I'm not panicking yet. Again, I'm just a little discouraged. It's not losing, but it's how you lose. And it's even though they won on Tuesday night, and we all love the victory. I didn't like how they performed for 2/3 of that game. So it's time now for more consistency. It's time now, I think, to come out better. It's been too many games in a row now, Razor, where their effort and their execution early on in games has been flawed. So that's where I'm at.
They still haven't figured out the starts of games.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, Bruins lose 4-1 to the Pittsburgh Penguins Thursday night at TD Garden. Razor, you're working Saturday, huh? Is that right? You're.
I'm in. I got the call.
You got the call.
Got
All
the
right.
call.
So
Big
Saturday from
now,
the Garden.
So I'm back in. Next 4 games.
All right, Razor and I. All right, beautiful. All right. Well, Razor and I will be there. It's a 1:00 start at TD Garden. Bruins continue their homestand, playing the Pittsburgh Penguins again. All right, Bruins fans. It's called Good Friday for a reason. Have a nice day. All right. Have another cup of coffee. Right. Enjoy your coffee. Take a deep breath. We're with you. We know there's some concern, but we're with you. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your coffee.